Trying. Been doing more detail painting on this figure. It's a pretty detailed figure. That's what Monogram was. One of the many things Monogram was known for back in the day. They had not, some of their early figures were pretty anemic looking, anorexic looking, but they had detail. And this, if you've been following my P-47 updates, gift build updates, you know that I was having problems with this decal settling down. And I even tried just putting on the diamonds individually, cutting them out and doing... Anyway, so I had put a lot of clear on it. I wasn't doing anything to get the decal to settle down. It was gloss clear. Then I found a can of old Krylon flat clear, and I made one pass with it and it settled. It was like magic. It looks like it's painted on now. And I don't know why my phone is having such a problem focusing. It always does. So it's an old, relatively old phone. What else have been? Yeah. So these I call these bazooka rocket launchers, because they look like they just took some bazooka tubes and strapped them together. But I was looking at some photos of the actual thing and realized that these Monogram bazooka rocket tube launchers are too small. One, they're too small. They look like the 3.5-inch bazookas that infantry used. But they are, the actual ones are larger. They're 4.5-inch. They launch 4.5-inch diameter rockets. And they are noticeably bigger than these. Something else, these Monogram ones have these, like, cap looking things at the end. And the photos of the real thing, no, they don't have those. So I don't know why Monogram made them like that. Because the photos are clear. They're just really large tubes with nothing at the ends. Anyway, I've been painting, doing interior. So the interior color depends on if the aircraft was made by Curtiss or Republic. And I can't remember. One of them used the zinc chromate yellow and the other one used zinc chromate green. But most of the photos I've seen, the color wartime photos, most of the planes have the zinc chromate yellow. That includes if you have one of the kits that have the open gun bays. I think Academy does that. They would be chromate yellow or chromate green, depending on which factory built the aircraft. But since most of the color photos I've seen are yellow, I'll just paint them the yellow. And then there's this gun sight, monogram. It's all, it should be glass right there, but monogram molded it all as one piece there. But I've also seen there's a different gun sight that it's a reflector type gun sight that uses two round pieces of glass. And apparently it projects an image in between the two pieces of glass, round glass. It's like a heads up display, but they called it a reflector. Reflector sight. And then, painting the lights. And here's some more trivia. I don't know if you can see, this camera doesn't look like it's focusing from what I can see. But, so this, you see these little arms, actuator arms on the doors there of the rear. See, and according to the detailed photos I've seen, those actuator arms connect directly to the tail gear. And so when the tail gear goes up, retracts, it pulls those doors closed behind it. And something else. This turbo supercharger cover is much thinner, much thinner than, I don't know if you can see how thick the plastic is, but much thinner than that. It's like just, sheet metal thin. And here's some more trivial. This landing light, according to the books I had, the landing light was the typical position, but they also placed it out here on some of the aircraft. So it wasn't quite a standard. It was, depending on, I guess, what the hell they felt at the factory, it was either there or out here. What's another trivial thing? Oh, yeah. So, monogram has this. This is the intercooler doors, I think. That's what they are, intercooler doors. But from what I read, this outer flap should not, it's the last door to open. This inner flap is supposed to open first, and when it gets fully open, which this one does, these don't look like they're fully open. When they're fully open, that's when this forward outer flap opens. So I think, to me, it looks like monogram didn't mold the inner flap fully open, but then molded the outer flap fully open. So that's just a little thing. This inner flap should be much more noticeably open before this forward outer flap opens. And that was for aerodynamic reasons. They don't, they didn't want this acting like a speed brake. And then, well, is there anything else here? They're trying to, taking forever on this extremely late birthday bill. Oh, I don't know why I used to be able to throw military aircraft and tanks. I used to just throw them together so fast. Now it takes me longer than when I build a car. And I don't know why. I don't know. Well, I know this thing was bugging me. It's just, and then I just came across that can of flat clear and Krylon flat clear, and said, "Oh well, maybe this will do something." And it was like instant reaction of the decal. It just flattened out and looked like, if you look at the previous views, you'll see what I'm talking about, how it looked before. But apparently the gloss clear was doing nothing. And also the decal solvents and everything, they weren't doing anything to get that. I hate those decals that supposed to wrap around the fuselage. They never seem to work good. What else? I don't think there was there anything else about this P-47 that I'm just dragging my feet on? Oh well. Nope. Landing gear legs. Okay, so I think. Oh, yeah. Now I will move on to new projects.